Hello everyone. Today let's talk about dry creek rain garden and why it may be a good idea for your space. Let's go over some definitions first. So a dry creek is basically a hardscape feature that is installed to manage the flow of water, and in doing so it also provides an aesthetic to a space. Now, a rain garden is a type of garden that uses the water from a runoff, for example, that's from a property such as a house or a building. Together, both of these features incorporate sustainability to a space. There is less water waste, less erosion. The plants are able to use the water and able to grow and thrive, and in doing so they become part of the ecosystem. In our space here, the two features are needed because we do get a lot of water runoff when it does rain, and usually when it rains here it pours. Like it doesn't just, we usually don't have light rain like we're having right now. And there is a steep incline from the house to where I am standing right now. So because of that, we get a lot of water, and I wanted a way to capture that water and then also to slow down the water. So let me show you what is meant. So when there is medium to heavy rainfall, water rushes down this way, goes through a dry creek bed up there, and then comes down this way. And then it would make its way down there. So the water, from what I noticed, would travel down that way and get wasted, which is not good because we want the water to stay up here as much as possible and create an environment where water can be taken up instead of going down there and getting wasted. Now, we do have grass here, so the grass helps, but we wanted a way to keep the water up here as much as possible. In order to prevent water runoff and erosion, I decided to install a dry creek. Recently decided to refresh this dry creek because we were able to get 2 free bags of sand and rocks. So I would not call myself an expert at installing a dry creek, but I will be happy to share with you what I have done. Originally, this area was trenched. Next, cardboard was laid to help with the weed suppression, followed by mulch, and then some rocks were added just for aesthetic. And it has worked out pretty good in my opinion. The rocks, of course, have settled a little bit, which is to be expected. And of course, the cardboard has broken down very nicely, and the soil underneath, when I looked at it, was looking pretty good. I think you could go down maybe 2 to 3 inches and you wouldn't be able to see that red clay soil. So it was really nice to see that. So this year, because we got free sand and rocks, decided to do it a little bit differently. So as a base, decided to use sand. Now, ideally, you want to use crusher run gravel. These are, it's finely crushed gravel that packs in really nicely. You want to do like at least 3 to 4 inches. But because this is a small space and I didn't have any crusher run, also I would have to pretty much redo the area again, which I do not want to do or did not want to do. Just wanted to keep it simple. And also it'd be a good experiment to see how well just having the sand as the base layer will do. So yeah, so sand, and then I was packing it down. After that, the gravel was laid on top, and then was packing all that into, just using the weight of my body. All right, let's show you the dimensions of this dry creek. So width-wise, I would say anywhere from 6 inches to 1.5 feet. And lengthwise, I would say a good at least 30 feet long. And as far as the depth goes, let's see, I would say sand plus gravel, I would say a good 2 to 3 inches. Now, I didn't want to go any more than that because you still want some trenching, or this area to be a little bit lower than the border. So if I were to go any higher, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be what a dry creek bed should look like. Let's give you the rest of the view. This is just based on my estimation that is 30 feet in length. It could be more, it could be less. Last year's project was budget friendly. I think I only had to go buy maybe a bag of rocks. I cannot remember. This year, even with the two free bags of sand and rocks, they did not completely fill up the whole space. So went to Home Depot and got 2 more bags of sand and I think 4 bags of rocks. Now we still have maybe 1.5 bags of rocks left and 1.5 bags of sand left. So that's really good. So I would say if you did not get any free stuff at all, I calculated that you would probably be spending between $65 to $68. So overall, it's still, I would say it's still a budget-friendly project. So the dry creek bed has been done a certain way and redirected in a certain direction. So when we do get water, it will flow this way instead of that way and have the water be wasted. So you can see that it has been directed a certain way, which is this way. And why is it directed that way instead of going out this way? Well, by directing it that way, that's where the rain garden comes in. As you can see, the dry creek is running through the garden, and you can see that there are plants on either side. And as you get here, you'll see that the dry creek is running through some water-loving plants like this little lime hydrangea. Another one right there. So in this area we have water-loving plants, which are hydrangeas. We have a couple oak leaf hydrangeas there. We also have plants on the other side, which I don't think they enjoy that much water. They all love well-draining soil, but the hydrangeas do love water a lot more. Now you can see that this plant is it's not suffering at all. It definitely has enjoyed having a lot more water, and this spring has provided a lot more water for all the plants actually because of the large amount of rain we've been getting. There's another gardenia right there. that is doing good. It used to be pretty small last year. You couldn't even tell that there was a plant there. Same thing with this one. This year is even blooming. This one is the camellia, and it's putting on some growth also. If you look back last year to last year's garden, when the dry creek was installed, these plants were still pretty small. Now, this year, they have put on some good size. So now, whenever we do get rainwater, these plants will be able to take in the rainwater. So by doing so, you get less water waste. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of a dry creek. As mentioned, the purpose of a dry creek is to manage the flow of water, and this dry creek has done just that. It has slowed down the flow of water whenever we do get a heavy rain, so it has done its job. Also, besides it being functional, it also provides a nice aesthetic to your garden space. So I think without it, it'll just look like, a space with just plants and mulch. But with the added dry creek, it just adds another layer of interest as far as design goes. It is easier to install. I would say from removing the pine straw to removing the rocks and then adding everything into the finished project, I would say a good 3 to 4 hours. It just depends on the size and how fast you can do things as well. So it is budget friendly, but again, it just depends on the size of your dry creek. You may need to refresh it maybe every 1 to 2 years, like it has been done here. Also, it could get weedy over time. Now, I was surprised that it wasn't as weedy as I thought it would be. It could be because this area got mulch on a regular basis, even where the dry creek was. Also, it could be because this area doesn't get, the full more than 6 hours of sunlight as well. So those two could be the contributing factors to why there may not be as many weeds as I thought, but it could change. With gardening, like this year, I've seen so many weeds that I did not see last year. So it just all depends, but just know that you will expect to see this area getting weedy. Let's talk about the pros and cons of having a rain garden. As mentioned, when you have a rain garden, it's able to take in water from a water runoff, and it's able to use it to grow and to thrive. And that's a good thing because you'll get less water waste, and you can have a big rain garden, you can have a smaller rain garden like this you see here. So it just depends on your taste, and you can add different kinds of plants. Just know that the plants that do well will likely be plants that enjoy having water. I decided to put hydrangeas here because they don't get a lot of, like full sun here, which they don't really like. And also they like water, so it was a great way to redirect the water and have them use the water from our water runoff. Now, I don't see any cons to having a rain garden at all. The only thing that I could think of is that you have to maybe be very careful with what plants you want to put in here, because you don't want plants to be sitting in water and get their roots rotted. So as you saw, a dry creek rain garden is both functional and attractive. So if you do have water runoff issues, having both of these features may be a great solution for you to your water problem. So with that, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. And until the next one, take care and bye for now.